Good morning, VBS groupies. I'm Megan, and this is Elisa, and we are coming to you live this morning to talk about the Decorating Challenge. Now, we put out a Decorating Challenge a couple days ago and asked you guys to give us some things that you have been collecting, and you know that there's something you can do with them, but you're not quite sure. And you guys gave us some great suggestions. And Elisa has risen to the challenge and come up with some amazing ideas for how you can use those items. So let's start with a very common one that we actually get a lot, which is the K-cups and the small creamer containers. Obviously, as VBS people, we drink a lot of coffee to get through those long days. So let's talk about how we can use some of those items.
Sure. Well, I've seen a lot of folks making big turtles, but I thought, well, you need a little turtles. So this is little turtles.
So you just have a couple different sizes here. So it looks like these are these Dixie cups?
They are.
They are Dixie cups. And then this would probably be a little coffee pod container type of thing. And that is just the most adorable little family of turtles. And we have a crab here too.
Yeah, so I think it'd be fun to build a bunch of them. I wish I had time. And some of them are spray painted, and this little guy is tissue papered. So you could cover them with paper,
great.
Paint, anything.
Yeah, this is fun too. You put some little like foam squares and shapes on top of there. That adds some fun texture. I can just see preschoolers loving these little guys. That's a great idea.
Thanks.
All right, so do you have more for those ideas, or are you ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
Let's move on. Oh,
well, there is this.
Yes.
I thought it would be fun to do something if you have a lot of those cups. I use a lot of creamer in my coffee at church, so I throw a few of those away. These are actually Dixie cups, but they could be the little creamer cups or the K cups or whatever. And it's just, they're taped together and spray painted. And bamboo, I would love to add some green or yellow color to them, but I just took a needle. That's what's here.
So just a needle and string.
And just strung them right through. I used a thumbtack to put the hole in first.
Oh, perfect.
So, and then I just strung them on and taped them together. They make a great sound when you walk through them. So I think they'd be fun in a doorway for kids to just run right through.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I could see it at Imagination Station or like in a hallway where kids are walking through. I love that idea. So now,
and Mindy had asked about toilet paper rolls. Could you use that the same idea?
Yes, for sure. And I found it's been windy and cold here in Colorado, so the paint didn't quite dry for me to add tape or some highlighting colors to the bamboo, but I would just add some yellow or green stripes would just make that pop.
Wonderful. Those are great ideas for the K-cups, the small creamer containers, toilet paper rolls, anything that kind of has that tube shape. You can make some really fun pieces for your environment. So let's move on. Felt was another question that we got asked about. Felt is something that I come across a lot in our craft closet, and I know that even in my basement I have a lot of felt actually. So what would you suggest doing with felt?
Well, I thought it's fun. I've seen some treasure maps out there, and so some fun just making straight pieces. You can put these on walls, bulletin boards, make some curved pieces too, and of course an X for when they get to Imagination Station or wherever. These would be fun on walls, bulletin boards.
Anything. So to kind of like trek your way through the map a little bit? Okay.
Yeah, so
that's a fun idea.
Walls, they even work great on carpet.
Okay.
You just have to take them down.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
And
I like that.
The other thought was this year we have our SOS bracelets.
Yes.
And so how fun would it be to make a mystery bulletin board using dashes and dots?
Oh, I love that.
And then they get to decipher it and have a little fun before Bible school. So.
Yeah. And what you could even do is if you wanted to put some Velcro on them, and then the kids could make different messages throughout the day, or anytime they come in, they could change up the messages on the board.
Sure. Yeah. So makes for fun Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And then the brown, I thought of footprints.
Sure.
Footprints in the sand.
Yeah.
You can just trace around a foot and make some footprints. So
Great idea. I love it. many uses for felt. Okay, so moving on again with that coffee theme, we have large coffee creamers. So tell us what you did with your large coffee creamer.
I made a pineapple.
I love it. That's so fun.
You guys, this was so easy. We just covered I just took a huge big piece of brown tissue paper and covered the whole thing, rubber banded it, and then took more rubber bands and I had cut and folded some green tissue paper around, and again that's just put on with rubber bands. This is crepe paper, and just crepe paper squares and glued right on with glue stick. Isn't that fun?
That is so easy. I love that idea. And if you were feeling creative, maybe you have brown paint or something left, you could also paint this out as well, but that's a great use for those coffee creamer bottles.
I think that we even have a pineapple bowling game in the preschool. So you could make, instead of using the bags, you could do this too. And what else do we have here?
Awesome. So I think we also had questions about, obviously we just had Easter, so there's probably a lot of Easter grass left and maybe some tinsel as well. So let's look at what you did with Easter grass.
This was so easy and so fun. It is just double-sided tape. And you can do this with tinsel, Easter grass, plastic Easter grass, and you just take the double-sided tape and let it grab.
Oh, wow.
And then, of course, go longer. And you just keep doing that the whole length of the tape.
Oh, that's even simpler than I thought it would be.
Isn't that fantastic?
That's so great.
So I think that this would be fun for underwater. I think it would be fun to add some pop and color to the curtain jungle vines.
Yeah. This would be this one too, like the green with the green Easter grass, or this is like little crinkly paper type of stuff. That would be great in your sloth sanctuary area too, in Imagination Station.
Fantastic. Yeah. For sure. And also underwater. We have a couple that we missed here, I see.
You just came up with so many great ideas that we can't keep up with them.
This is fun, just little coral to add to the underwater. And it could be K-cups or anything, and we had this left over from Maker, so we just cut it up. And
so if you had made those big word signs for Maker where we suggested that you use colored Cora Buff for that, you could repurpose that for more coral.
Yeah.
That's a super fun idea.
And then I had this little palm tree again for a bulletin board idea, your felts, and it's just felt and construction paper and chenille wires.
Oh, that's all that is?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow. So did you just kind of thread it through?
I did. I just accordion it. So we'll take it apart here a little bit so you can see. But I just cut a slit. So I folded it, cut a slit, and then I fed it on some about 4 or 5 little chenille wires.
That is super fun.
But I thought it'd be fun on a bulletin board just flat on the wall for that pop.
That's a great idea. So we had a few more questions or suggestions. One was wooden spools. So what would you do with those large wooden spools that you can find?
Oh, I would use those in a couple different places. They can go on the sets anywhere we used boxes and things. They can be used just in place of a box. Also the corners where we set out boxes with lanterns and nets and greenery, they could go in the corners for that, or simply just a table in your imagination station to put supplies and things on. So,
and that's where we also had a question about brown burlap, and that would be a great use for those as well, kind of in those same areas, or as table runners, I think you suggested. So
yes, adding texture to those areas is a great idea.
That's awesome. And finally, we had a question about the Cave Quest lava structure. So that's going a couple years back, which is, we love repurposing
Love
things.
it.
So what would you do with those lava structures that we had people create for Cave Quest?
Sure. Well, it lends itself to going underwater in coral, but if you've already got your underwater taken care of, I think that they're already painted, and it should be that great stuff that is paintable anyway. So give it a coat of sand spray. So cut it with tan first, and then the sand texture, and you can lay it flat for bumpy sand, or against the wall for rocky, fun, just more terrain, more sandy, beachy terrain.
Yeah. Well, Lisa, those were great ideas. Thank you so much for your creative genius. Thank you guys for all of the fun suggestions, and we hope that you learned some great ways to use your extra items for Shipwrecked VBS.